I don't think I've ever seen a more perfect encapsulation of groupthink.
The CDC is like this whole governmental body. Just tell us what to do. You don't have to think about it, dude. Obviously, my point is that if you're so fucking stupid, then yeah, you should listen to the CDC, bro.
You and I can talk about it. It is appointed to a man once to be invited on the show. And if you don't, if you decline, and everyone now knows that you will, but I will never address you again. I bet this guy's going to do anything he can to avoid actually debating.
I didn't want to make it too easy for you.
Oh, okay.
So I've prepared.
I had no idea this was going to happen. You know,
Steven, you're wearing
that we
a holster.
agreed. Yeah? So?
What the fuck is this? So as I continue my YouTube hiatus, and yes, I know my camera's in a little bit of a weird position right now, but just bear with me here. I'm a little bit busy right now, but I wanted to come on here for a quick moment and talk about whatever the hell this was. This Ethan Klein, what was supposed to be Ethan Klein versus Steven Crowder, which then diverted into Ethan Klein and Sam Seder versus Steven Crowder. What a shit show of a debate this was. As you guys know, I don't like Ethan Klein. I think Ethan Klein is dirty, disingenuous, I think he's a pretty awful person. It goes beyond just me not liking him or his takes. I think he's a pretty awful, slimy person for a variety of reasons that we've already discussed ad nauseum. You can find all my other Ethan Klein content. It's still on this channel, so if you're curious, well, you can go into the backlogs and figure that out for yourself. I always love when, I say something like, I don't like Ethan Klein, and then I get like 50 comments that are like, well, can you explain why? I have a whole archive of content. You can go check it out. I'm not going to explain why again. But look, my positions on Ethan Klein aside, this was a debate where I thought nobody looked good in this situation. I mean, my God, this was something else to take a look at right here. Now, Ethan Klein and Steven Crowder have been going at it for a while. Ethan Klein called him out, I believe, back in March, and then Steven Crowder did a response episode, which then prompted in Crowder asking Ethan for debate, to which Ethan surprisingly accepted. Now, a lot of people point out that politics is not the primary focus of the H3 podcast. It's not even a secondary or a third focus, but it is something that's a little bit prevalent on Ethan's show. Ethan all the time makes political statements, usually nothing like complicated. He's not going into his policy positions or something like that. He's just talking about, COVID-19, wear a mask, or Republicans suck, very basic takes like that. But he still gives takes on his show. A fellow conservative commentator challenged him to a debate, so Ethan agreed, which was surprising, but I figured this would be something wouldn't end up natural about this debate. This wasn't just going to be Ethan and Crowder going at it for like an hour. So earlier this morning, Steven Crowder ended up putting up some sort of a promo for the debate, and it shows footage of them going at it, but I'm going to play this along right here.
So I've prepared.
I had no idea this was going to happen.
Steven, you're wearing
that we
a holster.
agreed.
So if you're confused on what you saw, that was the big reveal that Ethan Klein ended up sneaking Sam Seder into the debate, which is weird. Sam Seder's another political commentator who runs a show, The Majority Report, and he's somebody that allegedly Crowder's been ducking a debate from for a while. Back in 2019, they were supposed to debate at Politicon. Then that debate ended up getting called off, and in a leaked phone call Sam Seder had with the Politicon staff, they explained that Crowder got cold feet and called it off privately, which obviously wasn't supposed to be aired publicly. Sam Seder ended up airing it publicly, and it's been this, the cause of this sort of rift between Sam Seder and Steven Crowder, where Sam Seder's been running on the narrative that, well, it seems pretty true, that Crowder is totally afraid of debating Sam Seder. Now, Crowder said that the Politicon people were lying and that it wasn't true and that he hasn't run for a debate because he hasn't even accepted, which of course prompts the question from me, why hasn't he accepted the debate? In the podcast, Crowder says he won't debate Sam Seder because Sam is dishonest, which is okay, I guess fair enough, but why is he dishonest? This is something Crowder fails to substantiate in the podcast. And of course, even then it prompts a question, well, if he's so dishonest, why not just debate him and prove his dishonesty? Expose him right there. So look, I'm not a fan of H3, but I can acknowledge Crowder looks like a massive bitch in this situation. But at the same time, look at where this all started. This was supposed to be a debate between Ethan Klein and Steven Crowder. Why is Sam Seder being snuck into here? Yeah, it's awesome that he did that purely on the basis that it gives us content. But I mean, look, let's be real here. This was supposed to be a debate between one man and another man, and then Ethan Klein's sending out somebody else to do the work for him. In this debate, Ethan doesn't even begin to engage with Crowder. He immediately rushes Sam into the conversation. It's not like Ethan and Steven Crowder have sort of like 30 minutes or an hour of back and forth before Sam enters the equation. Ethan immediately pulls out Sam.
And we talked about this through playful ribbing and an aggregation of medical authorities and scientific voices to make an informed and rational decision. So where do you think that I'm wrong on that?
Stephen, do you know that the Spartans are like practice man love with children?
Oh, geez. Okay, so this is what's going to happen. What did I tell you? He was going to do anything he could to avoid. Oh, there he is. Oh no, Sam Seder. What a fucking nightmare.
And to be honest, that's like some bitch shit right there. Like why it would have been cool if he had at least tried to have a conversation before resorting to his last move, but we're also talking about Ethan Klein here, the guy that lets other people run the show for him. Why do you think he had Trisha Paytas on board? Because she's more entertaining than him, and she single-handedly revived his dying podcast channel. There's no way you can argue that Ethan isn't a loser in this situation, but now we have a situation where it's Steven Crowder and his cast of co-hosts versus Ethan Klein and Sam Seder and Ethan Klein's cast of co-hosts. It devolves into a shit show. I'm going to play a little bit right here. Let's just start when Sam enters the equation.
I had no idea this was going to happen. I thought Ethan was a stand-up guy. This is where we are. Yeah, I
thought Ethan was a stand-up guy. Yeah, well, that's not true. You could have figured that out long ago, Steven.
Dave, remember I told you? I said, I guarantee you he's going to do anything he can to avoid the debate.
Well, I just think he believes that he should debate you.
No, he doesn't. He just takes advantage of women with, mental health issues.
Steven,
Ethan Klein doesn't stand up and do his own fighting.
I gotta say,
it's just hilarious. Let's bring on FM.
That you would do anything to avoid talking to me. I think the point that you made
at
at the beginning of
Joe
this
Rogan.
was,
Joe Rogan and Ben Shapiro and Dave Rubin and Jordan Peterson and Noam Chomsky and Sam Harris. Everyone's been avoiding.
And not just attempting to get your audience by jumping in.
Well, I debated with Charlie Kirk. Stephen, I mean, it's about issues. Let's talk about those issues.
That's what you're doing here.
Valid points.
You're so clever. I had no idea that you were taking your show off early last time, coming in today with your pig pen peanuts on.
I wish
You take those off with a velveteen button.
So what Crowder just said there, and what is the big notch, is that he's admitting to the fact that he's paying attention to Sam Seder's schedule, knowing that he took off earlier last week because Crowder wanted to debate Ethan at a time slot which he thought Sam would be on running his own show so that he wouldn't come on and debate him, which is a bad look on Crowder. Also, why are we looking at Steven Crowder's co-host there? Where's Crowder himself? Why is the camera onto his co-host? Crowder, you're the one who's talking. Why ain't the camera on you? All right, why are you running away? This is something Ethan's going to push him on, and to be fair, it's probably the best thing Ethan did in this whole entire podcast. Even though he's still a pussy, all right, at least, he's throwing some shit at Crowder for that, because that's kind of funny. Why isn't Crowder on camera right now?
We must have been very worried about this, Stephen. I don't know why.
No one's worried about it.
So
Sam didn't want to do it.
Let's have the
Sam,
debate.
come on. I'll tell you what. I have a general
This is a
rule.
great opportunity.
I don't start a debate based with people on a lie. And how about you get
sabotaging?
How about you get
Stephen,
to
show yourself, you coward. Stephen, show yourself.
Yeah, there you go.
Co-host.
Ethan, you should show yourself.
Ethan, how can you respect yourself as a man, brother?
Stephen, you are such a coward. Stop showing your little leprechaun co-host who comes out dressed like your sidekick.
Come on, Ethan, why do you have to bring on a
Show
guy who has
Stephen.
30th of the
Really
viewership of
The
this
saddest thing I've ever heard. So you have a guy with less viewers to come on to debate him because you can't?
Well, obviously, if I'm a layup and not a debater.
Well, look, you're the one who called. You're the one who got
Steven's the one that got angry about
Show
it.
Stephen. Don't be such a coward.
So at this point, it's a total shit show, and I mean that's basically the entire debate here. It's not really much to show. I will be watching the whole thing tomorrow live on the air on my show, just, reviewing the entire thing from start to finish. But I want to go to one other specific point in this podcast that I found pretty weak from Steven Crowder's part.
And right, so you've been begging for a long time with everyone bigger than yourself.
He can't build an audience,
and so what happens is he uploads 15 times more, has less than a 50th of the audience.
Well, that's why he wants to debate you, is so he can build his...
Sam,
come
on.
Your audience cares that I only have 1 million subscribers and you have, 6 or 7 million subscribers?
Let me answer. Can I answer your question? Can I answer your question? Sure. You want me to answer your question? My audience would say Sam who? Just like Joe Rogan's audience and Ben Shapiro's and Dave Rubin.
Who I am.
Now they all know who you are because you had to shoehorn yourself into another coward show.
Okay, I'll cut it there and explain what's going on. Steven Crowder's saying, I won't debate Sam Seder because he just doesn't have enough subs. His audience is so much smaller than mine. I mean, it's totally a ridiculous argument. I mean, even if that was true, obviously that's a weak reason to not debate somebody, at least in my opinion. Oh, well, you don't have enough subs. Well, wouldn't that make the debate more fun from Crowder's perspective? I mean, Crowder, if you have such a much larger audience, a much more massive audience, and you tower over this guy, you're in the dominant position by default. You're punching down. You are fighting from the uphill advantage, so why wouldn't you want to have that conversation? But it's not even really that true. I mean, Sam Seder has 1 million subs. It's not like he's no small fry, I mean, he's got 1 million subs next to his name. And I mean, just looking at their YouTube analytics, yeah, Crowder has a much bigger channel, but he's only getting twice as much more views as Sam Seder over here, which, I mean, obviously, yeah, Crowder's getting more views, but it's not like, it's Steven Crowder versus some 80 follower account on Twitter, all right? I mean, come on now. But I mean, let's just be honest here. It's a totally weak reason not to debate somebody. Not that you have to debate every single person that challenges you, but from Crowder's perspective, this is the guy whose biggest show is literally called Change My Mind. The guy who is constantly ridiculed for choosing only to debate children on a college campus. Why not prove the critics wrong and challenge somebody your own size for once? And again, if it was about his dishonesty and not the amount of subs that he has, highlight the dishonesty. I'm sure he probably is dishonest. I think I've watched one Sam Seder video in my life. I'm not a lefty. I don't watch Sam Seder. If he's dishonest, the only reason why I say I'm sure he's dishonest is because he's a political talking head on the internet. And most political talking heads on the internet are usually full of shit. So I'm sure there's something, I'm sure Sam Seder is probably full of shit. I'm sure Steven Crowder's probably full of shit. Why not show that? You know what I mean? The rest of the debate is pretty much a shit show and it ends in a few minutes. I think the entire thing lasted about maybe 8 minutes total. Again, I'll review the full thing tomorrow live on the air on my show, broadcasted live on this YouTube channel. But wow, was that terrible? And I know I've been pretty critical on Crowder, and maybe some of my conservative audience is going to, light me up for that. I thought Crowder's done some pretty good anti-H3 content. We've reviewed some of the content recently on After Hours, and I thought Crowder pretty much stomped an H3 there. But I think in this debate, it was obvious that he was shitting himself. But going back to Ethan Klein was also shitting himself because he brought out somebody else to fight his battles for him in a debate. And let's highlight that specifically right here, all right? Ethan Klein just as much ran from a debate as Steven Crowder did from Sam Seder, all right? Sam's really the only guy that looks good in this situation, and the only reason why he looks good is because it was impossible for him not to. He's literally walking in here to do the stomping for somebody else, all right? There was no way he wasn't not going to look good unless Crowder just fucking shit on him all over the place. But Crowder ended up leaving the conversation. To be fair, just like Ethan Klein ran initially as soon as the debate started. As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to their political careers or something, I basically look at Ethan Klein and Steven Crowder as two of the same, just on different sides of the aisle. Neither of them are impressive to me. I don't think either of them are, intellectual talking heads. To be fair to Ethan, at least he admits, like he did at the beginning of the debate, that he's stupid and that he doesn't really know what he's talking about.
Because I don't think I'm a very good debater. I think you know that. So I didn't want to make it too easy for you.
But if he's so stupid, why would he open his mouth and talk about issues that he can't even substantiate or back up? People are telling me that he shouldn't have chosen this debate because Ethan Klein isn't a political figure. Just because you're not known for doing political content doesn't mean you're any less capable of having a conversation with somebody and backing up the things that you believe in. Ethan makes specific claims about the coronavirus. How does he reach those conclusions by himself? Is it through logic, or does he just repeat what he's told without really knowing what it means? It sounds like it's really the latter, and that's why he couldn't debate Steven Crowder. But then again, you could probably say the same thing about Crowder and why he won't debate other people. This entire thing was just a complete circus and a shit show from every single angle. Again, the only person that looked good was Sam, but Sam wasn't even supposed to be there, so I don't know if that really counts. And I'm sure if you're a viewer of this video and you have no idea who I am, you're probably confused about why I'm shitting on everybody. I just thought the entire thing was a circus, and I'm just gonna call it how I see it. Nobody is entitled to debate somebody or has to debate somebody, but I can certainly laugh at you for refusing to debate when, for instance, your entire show is changed my mind, or when you're Ethan Klein and you want to lecture people about having no convictions by what they stand by and then not being able to, well, stand by your convictions. All in all, it was entertaining, that's for sure, but it was also a total train wreck. So there you go.